Hollywood, California, we present Chapter 20 in the story of Paul Christian, the Doctor of River's End, starring Jean Hersholt in the title role, and presented for your enjoyment by the Cheesebro Manufacturing Company, owners of the trademark Vaseline. Now for today's Dr. Christian story. The first scene takes place in the office where we find Judy Price, the doctor's secretary, finishing her day's work.
Dr. Christian's office? No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Simmons. He hasn't returned yet. But I'm expecting him any minute now. Oh, I won't forget to tell him. I'll tell him the moment he comes in. Yes, he'll be there. Goodbye, Mrs. Simmons.
About ready to leave?
Oh, hello, Jerry.
Hello.
No, Dr. Christian isn't back from the city yet, and as soon as he gets here, he has to go out to Walt Elliot's house.
Walt Elliot? Say, Walt isn't out of...
No, it's Patty. She's been sick for a long time. Mrs. Simmons, the housekeeper, just phoned. She says Patty's worse.
Gee, that's a kind of heartbreaking situation, isn't it? A little kid sick, no mother, and her father in prison. It's pretty tough all around. What's the matter with Patty?
Dr. Christian hasn't said.
I never could really believe the story about Walt Elliot taking money from that firm in Chicago. Why, I've known him ever since he moved here, and the guy's as honest as the day is long.
I wouldn't have believed it either if he hadn't confessed. He did, you know. He went to the police and gave himself up.
Yeah, I think he was crazy to do it.
All right, you clock watchers. You can go now.
Good evening, Dr. Christian. What's new in the city?
Well, it looks as if our milk racket friend, Mr. James Benson Clark, is at the end of his rope.
Oh, he'll be lucky if he isn't at the end of another rope with a noose in it.
Nolan tells me he broke down and confessed the whole thing.
Who's Nolan?
The detective who arrested him.
Well, Dr. Christian, I guess that gang of crooks found out it didn't pay to tangle with you.
Oh, I didn't have much to do with it.
No, nothing except busting up the whole racket. Oh, Mrs. Simmons phoned.
Mrs. Simmons?
Mm-hmm. She thinks you'd better come out.
Oh, but I called her just this morning. Patty isn't worse, is she?
Well, Mrs. Simmons thinks so. She's phoned 3 times this afternoon.
What's the matter with Patty Elliot, Dr. Christian?
Well, it's hard to say, Jerry. It's something you won't find in the medical books. Either the ailment or the cure.
Why? Can't it be cured?
Yes, but not by a doctor. Patty is grieving to death for her father.
Grieving to death? Oh, you don't really mean
Well,
that
I guess I shouldn't have said that. But it's true. She's just as sick as if she had typhoid or diphtheria. Only in this case, I can't do anything about it. Well, good evening, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, good evening, Dr. Christian. Here, let me take your overcoat. I've been worried that your office would be closed before you got my message.
Judy always stays till I get back. But what's happened?
Oh, it isn't anything that just happened today only. Well, Dr. Christian, I don't want to be telling you your business, but it's been 6 weeks now, and Patty isn't any better. She's been getting worse. She used to cry. Now she doesn't even do that anymore. Just lies there still and white. I'm afraid, Dr. Christian.
Oh, you're doing everything we can.
You'd better write to Mr. Elliot.
Oh, it's no use bothering him. He has enough to worry about. And telling him won't help Patty.
Well, just the same, you'd better write.
We'll wait a little while. I don't want to worry Walt. I'll go in and see her now.
Dr. Christian is here, Patty.
Hello, Patty. Well, haven't you got a smile for me? Not just a little smile?
When is my daddy coming home?
Well, you wouldn't want him to come home now, would you? And find you sick in bed? You've got to get well first so you can run out and meet him.
If I get well by Saturday, will he come home? Will he, Dr. Christian?
Saturday's a long way off. It's only Tuesday. You'd better not make any plans yet. Oh, I remember what I promised you when I was here this morning. I said I was going to the city and I'd bring something back for you. Well, I have. There you are.
Oh, why, look. What a funny doll.
See? He can open and close his mouth just as if he were talking. Watch now. Look. All you have to do is to pull this little string. Here, you take it. No?
Don't you like it, darling? Well, Dr. Christian brought it all the way from the city. Look, Patty, see how it works. Just pull the string. Here, now, try it. It's lots of fun.
Put it on the dresser there. Patty, want me to tell you a secret? Now, this is just between you and me. When other little girls get sick, they have measles and mumps and chicken pox. You haven't any of those things at all. Well, you really aren't sick. There really isn't anything the matter with you.
Then can I be well by Saturday? And then to meet my daddy?
Well, you've been in bed so long, I don't think you'll be able to run right away. And you've got to eat all the nice things that Mrs. Simmons cooks for you and get strong.
And I've got something especially nice for supper.
Well, say, here's an idea. Instead of having an ordinary supper, let's have a party. You can invite Mrs. Simmons and me.
Would you like that, Patty?
I think we're tiring her. Better let her alone. Maybe she'll go to sleep. Goodbye, Patty. Not even going to say goodbye?
Goodbye, Dr. Christian.
Now, you see, she's worse. Worse even than she was this morning.
Yes.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, I've told you she isn't sick in the ordinary sense. Theologically, there's nothing the matter with her. There isn't anything I can do.
Well, you're a doctor, and I'm just an ordinary woman, but I know what's the matter with her. And I know what will cure her. She's got to have her father. And if he doesn't come back, she isn't going to get well.
Don't you suppose I realize that? But the father is in prison.
Then write to the prison and tell them...
Oh. Don't pay any attention to me.
What do you know? If you told them Patty was dying, they might let him
There
out.
isn't a chance.
Well, why don't you write and find out?
Ah.
Oh, no, you won't do that, will you? Well, if you won't, I will. I'll write to Mr. Elliot, too, and I'll tell him exactly what's happening here. That you won't do a thing, won't make any effort to help her.
You're not going to write?
Oh, yes, I am. And I'm going to ask the prison to let Mr. Elliot come home. I'm going to tell them that he...
You don't know what you're talking about. Walt Elliot's he's serving a sentence. You don't think they're going to release him simply because you or I write a letter?
Well, I know this much. You're letting Patty die. Yes, die. And when Mr. Elliot does come back, you'll have to explain that to him. You'll have to tell him you stood by and did nothing. Did nothing.
Will you please get my overcoat?
Oh, I can't understand you, Dr. Christian. I can't believe it. Such an easy thing, such a simple thing, just writing a letter. And you won't do it. Not even to save her life.
I put off writing to Walt, Mrs. Simmons, because I've been hoping that Patty would show some improvement. I see now she won't. Yeah, you're right. She isn't going to get well.
Oh.
But our writing to the prison and asking them to let Walt come home, well, that won't help. I've already put the case before the governor a long time ago, and I haven't even received an answer. Even if we could get the governor to pardon him, it would take a long time, weeks maybe. And that would be too late.
Too late?
Patty is... Well, unless something happens, it's only a matter of days. By the end of the week, she...
Oh, Dr. Christian.
We couldn't get Walt home by that time.
And when he does come, she won't be at the gate to meet him. He won't hear the patter of her feet running through the hall when he opens the door. The house will be all quiet, still. Still forever. I'll get your overcoat.
Wait a minute. I said we couldn't get him back, but we will.
Why?
Somehow, some way. I'm going to get him and bring him home. You can tell Patty. Tell her that her daddy will be home Saturday.
State Capitol Building. Hello. Yes, this is the State Capitol Building. One moment, please. Sorry, that line is busy.
I beg your pardon, but could you tell me how much longer I might have to wait?
Who was it you wanted to see?
The governor.
Oh, well, I'm afraid you couldn't see the governor without an appointment.
But I had an appointment. I've been waiting here since 10 o'clock this morning.
What time was your appointment?
10:30.
Why, it's after 5 o'clock now, and the governor's been in a meeting all day. Are you sure you had an appointment for 10:30 this morning?
Well, the appointment was really for Thursday, yesterday, but you told me to come back today.
I don't remember. What's your name?
Dr. Christian. I sent a telegram to the governor and got a letter asking me to come and talk to him. I have the letter right here if you don't believe me.
Oh, yes, I recall now. Oh, you should have seen Mr. Redmond.
Mr. Redmond?
The governor's secretary. That's where you made your mistake. You should have asked for Mr. Redmond.
But I wanted to see the governor. This is something
You're to
that...
see Mr. Redmond. His secretary isn't there to answer the phone, but I think I can get him on the intercommunication system. Wait a minute.
Yes?
Mr. Redmond, there's a Dr. Christian here to see you.
Who?
Dr. Christian of River's End. His appointment was for 10:30 this morning, but he got mixed up and thought he was to see the governor.
Well, I can't talk to him now. I've got a date at the club. I'm just leaving.
Ask him if I could see him for just a little while.
He says it won't take long.
Yes, but I've got to leave right now. Tell him to come back tomorrow. No, wait, tomorrow's Saturday, and I'll be away for the weekend. Tell him 2:30 on Monday.
Mr. Redmond will see you at 2:30 on Monday.
But I can't wait till Monday.
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to. State Capitol. Sorry, that department is closed. It closes at 5 o'clock.
If I could only talk to him for a few
Oh,
minutes.
he's probably gone by this time.
It's very important. I have to have an answer tonight.
Well, wait a minute.
What is it?
Dr. Christian is...
I told you Monday.
He says it's quite important. Something he has to know about tonight.
Oh, well, all right. Send him in. Oh, hello. Say, call a cab for me.
Yes, sir. He'll see you. Down the corridor, third door to your left.
Thank you. Mr. Redmond?
Yes, come in. I'm just about to leave, so if you'll be as brief as possible.
Yes, I will. I wrote to the governor some time ago about a man who is in prison. His name is Walt Elliot. The other day I wired the governor, and he said...
Yes. You wanted to talk about a pardon. The governor's passed your correspondence on to me, but it's in the file now. My secretary's gone.
But I could tell you what the letter said.
No, wait. Here it is, in my basket. Hadn't been filed yet.
You see, Walt Elliot took some money, but that was a long time ago.
Oh, never mind. It's all here in the letter.
Yes, sir.
Well, Doctor, the governor's attached a memo to the effect that he sees no reason to interfere.
But there is a reason.
Huh?
The money was stolen 8 years ago. Since then, Walt Elliot has become a respected and useful citizen. And after 8 years, he's had the honesty to go to the police and give himself up. There isn't any use in keeping him in prison.
Wait a moment. Are you trying to tell the governor what to do?
Oh, no, of course not. I only wanted to give the facts.
The facts are in the letter. If Elliot's prison record warrants it, an application for parole may be made at the proper time. Until then, the matter is closed.
If I could only see the governor himself, I'm sure I could convince him.
The governor has reviewed the case, and I can assure you he'll not change his mind.
But couldn't I see him anyhow?
He's in a meeting, and he won't be through until late this evening.
I don't mind waiting.
After the meeting, he's due at a dinner. If you want to come back next week, well, perhaps I can...
Next week will be too late. I've got to get Walt Elliot released tonight.
Oh, so you've got to get him pardoned tonight. You work fast, don't you?
I know that sounds funny, but...
Yes.
Your taxi is here, Mr. Redmond.
All right. I'm very sorry, but I'll have to ask you to go now.
Mr. Redmond, will you listen to me for a minute? Just one little minute.
It won't do any good. I haven't any authority in the matter, and my taxi is waiting...
Mr. Redmond, Walt Elliot has a little girl. When she was 2 years old, her mama died. Walt took care of her and brought her up. She's 7 now. All these years, she's been very close to her father. Has never been separated from him.
If you please, Dr. Christian, I'm sorry,
dying. Dying of something you don't hear about very often, but which happens lots of times. Dying of a broken heart. She needs her father. He's the only one who can save her. I promised to bring him back with me tomorrow. If you'll only let me talk to the governor...
I tell you, the governor is in a meeting with some important people. Now, will you please
Important?
don't...
Why are they important? Because they wear silk hats and ride in limousines? Are they more important than a little girl's life? It makes you think they're more precious to this scheme of things than she is. Mr. Redmond...
My cab is waiting, and...
I promised I would bring her father home with me. I can't go back and let her know I've failed. I won't do it.
I've heard enough of this. Now get out of here.
No, I'm not going. Neither are you until you call the governor and...
Get out of my way and get away from that door.
No. You're not going to leave this office.
Monsieur?
Yes?
Will you call the police? This man is either drunk or crazy.
We return you now to the story of Dr. Christian. The scene is the police lineup where the beloved doctor of River's End unexpectedly finds himself associating with a lot of felons and jailbirds.
All right, you guys, come on. They want to take a look at you.
Run along, Flatfoot. We're busy. Yeah, we're in conference.
Oh, funny guy, huh? Well, wipe that grin off your face or I'll knock it off. Come on.
You ain't gonna run me through that police line. You ain't gonna do it. Those guys out there all set to frame me. Frame me, and I ain't gonna go.
Get going.
I tell you, they ain't on the level. They ain't gonna do it.
Hey, you two.
What do you want with me?
Listen, we ask the questions around here. You stick to the answers.
I didn't mean any offense. You see, I'm Dr. Christian of River's End. The governor sent for me and
Well, wasn't that nice of him?
Well, I had a letter from him.
Yeah? Where is it?
The young lady in his office kept it.
Oh, she did, huh? Say, just out of curiosity, what's your racket? Who are you?
I told you I'm Dr. Christian.
Oh, still sticking to that, huh? When you get in the police line out there, they'll sweat the truth out of you. And they won't be too gentle about it either.
If you'll only call the hotel where I'm staying, they'll identify me.
You'll be identified soon enough. Go on.
Wait, please. What are you going to do with me?
Well, if you ain't wanted for something else, you'll draw 30 days for being drunk and disorderly.
But that's a whole month.
I ain't heard of it being changed. Go on, get going.
I'm trying to save a little girl's life. If you let me explain...
You hurt me. Get going.
Oh, so you were just standing there, Costello. Just looking on.
Yeah, that's all I was doing. You ain't got nothing on me.
Where you been for the last month, Costello?
I've been to Chicago.
What did you go there for?
I went to see my mother.
Where does she live?
Why, my mother, she lives...
Come on. You know where your mother lives, don't you?
She lives on Loma Street.
So you were out of town on the 10th of last month.
I was in Chi.
You wouldn't know about that grocery store that was robbed on the night of the 10th.
I don't know nothing about it.
How does it happen we find your fingerprints on the cash register?
I don't know nothing about it. It's a frame-up. I didn't do it. You guys are framing me.
You better spill it, Costello, if you know what's good for you.
That's a frame-up. I don't know nothing.
We'll see you later, Costello. Take him along.
Go on. All right, you.
Hey, who's that?
That guy says his name's Christian. Claims he's a doctor.
Wait a minute. Dr. Christian.
Why, Nolan.
What in the name of Kingdom Come are you doing here? What's the charges against this man?
As far as I know, plain drunk.
You're nuts. This is the man who busted the milk racket. You can release him.
I ain't got orders to release him. You'd better see the sergeant.
I'm giving you your orders, and I'll see the sergeant. Come on, Dr. Christian. Hello. Yes, I'm still waiting to talk to the governor. Well, hurry up. Hello. Governor, this is Al Nolan. That's right. Dr. Christian is here with me, and he wants to see you. Well, what about a little later? But can't you... I see. Yes, I understand. All right. Thank you.
He won't see me?
He's at a dinner now, and he has to make a speech in about 5 minutes.
Well, can't we see him when he's...
He said not until after the first of the week. They're entertaining the Industrial Commission.
I see.
I'm sorry, Dr. Christian. Can I drive you back to your hotel?
I guess so. There doesn't seem to be anything else we can do. My car's next door in the parking lot. I'll go on.
Why doesn't somebody answer that? Police headquarters. Nolan speaking. Oh, why, yes. Yes. It's the same Dr. Christian who busted up the milk racket. All right. All right, Governor.
Governor?
Yes, sir. The Empire Hotel. We'll be right there. Yes, right away.
And so I dare say the dinner is just as successful without my speech. Perhaps more so.
But, Governor, about Walt Elliot.
Well, from the way you presented the case, it seems Elliot might warrant some sort of clemency. But such things take time, Dr. Christian. And after all, if Elliot is released in a week or so...
It isn't Elliot I'm thinking about. It's the little girl.
I understand. I understand perfectly. But even if I saw fit to issue a pardon for Elliot, it would scarcely do for me to take action so abruptly, merely from hearing your side of the story.
Why, you can believe Dr. Christian.
Oh, I don't doubt his word, not in the least. But simply to issue a pardon without at least reviewing the case, well, it wouldn't be politic.
You have a little girl. Not much older than Patty Elliot. If she were dying, if her life depended upon your getting to her, would you stop to consider that was politic?
My sympathies are all with the little girl, Dr. Christian. But a man in my position cannot always be guided by his sympathies. And after all, let's see, it's after 1 o'clock. There's nothing to be done tonight. I'll think it over tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow might be too late.
Let's hope not. That's all I can promise, Dr. Christian. And now I really must get back to my guest.
Oh, but Governor...
You come to my office in the morning, Dr. Christian. About 11 o'clock. Good evening, gentlemen.
Governor, look here.
Now, Nolan. I simply can't give you any more time.
But listen a minute. Never mind the pardon now. Release Elliot in my custody right now. Dr. Christian and I will take him back to River's End tonight. Then later
Why, yes. Yes, I could do that, couldn't I? Wait a moment. Hello? This is the governor. I want to put through a call to the warden of the state penitentiary.
What time is it, Dr. Christian?
5:45, Walt. It's beginning to get light.
If we only get there in time.
Oh, we will, Walt. We're almost there now.
There isn't any traffic on the road. Can't you step on it?
I've had the accelerator pushed clear down to the floor ever since we left.
Well, keep it there.
It's a good thing this is a police car. I bet every trooper on the road is on our trail.
The next turn to the left, Nolan.
There it is. There's the house. There's a light in it. What's that light for? Why are they up at this time of morning?
I don't know, Walt, but...
We're too late. I know we're too late.
You go ahead with him, Dr. Christian. I'll wait here.
I wonder whose car that is parked there.
Never mind. Come on.
Mr. Elliot.
I told him I'd bring him back, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, Dr. Christian, then you didn't get my message. You haven't heard.
Heard what?
I phoned your office, Dr. Christian. I tried to get you, but Judy said you were out of town.
What is it? What is it?
Patty, she's just...
Dr. Christian,
Hello, Judy.
where have you been? What's happened to you? I called your hotel a half a dozen times, and they said you hadn't been there since early morning.
I was away.
Well, when I couldn't locate you, I phoned for Dr. Berkshire in Center City. It was Patty Elliot. He said she couldn't live through the morning.
Yes, I've just come from the Elliots. I saw Dr. Berkshire. He was right.
And Patty, is she...
She's sitting up in bed eating her breakfast.
Sitting up in bed?
Yes.
Oh, I don't understand what you're talking about. If Dr. Berkshire was right, why...
Well, things are different now, you see. Oh, I'm so tired, Judy.
Well...
I'll tell you about it some other time.
But if she was that bad...
She's better now. I brought Walt Elliot back with me. That's all she needed.
But...
Now, please let me alone.
Walt Elliot, you brought him back? Well, when? How did you...
I haven't had any sleep for 24 hours. Now, please.
But how did Walt get out of prison? You can at least answer that question, if you know the answer.
Judy, after what happened to me in the last 24 hours, I know all the answers. And I'll go to bed.
Gene Hersholt, who appears on this program through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, will be back next Sunday with another heartwarming story of Dr. Christian. Until then, this is Arthur Gilmore bidding you good afternoon for the makers of Vaseline Preparation. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.